Good evening, everybody. My name is Carissa McAfee, and I am so excited to present tonight's Who Knew at ESU. Tonight, we're going to be talking a little bit about entrepreneurship and the School of Business. As you may or may not know, we have a brand new entrepreneurship major that will be coming into play this fall, and we also host several entrepreneurship competitions on campus. Tonight, we're going to go over some of the entrepreneurial opportunities that we have on campus, and then you'll get to meet some of the winners of our local competitions. I do want to give you a heads up that everyone here has been vaccinated, so we are following all of the COVID-19 safety guidelines and protocols, so no need to worry about that. We also want to let you know that you're going to see a series of pitches tonight, and we want you to ask questions. So use the Ask Questions link so that you can ask our entrepreneurs what you're curious about, and so that they can tell you the burning answers that you need to know about their pitches. So we'll get started. I was an entrepreneurship minor when I was in college. I graduated May 2020. I now work at Emporia State. So I'm so excited to talk to you about our entrepreneurship competitions. We do have an entrepreneurial club, but more importantly, we have the Holt Prize, which is the first team we're going to meet tonight. The Holt Prize is a social good competition, which means they want you to create a business idea that will change the world. Every single year, there is a theme, and you need to use that theme to affect 10 million people in 10 years. You also get $1 million to do that if you race all the way through the ranks of the competition. This year's theme was the environment and trying to make change for good and in that sort of way. So you'll be hearing from our winning team, Pocket Garden. We'll go ahead and play their pitch for you now, and then they'll come on so you can meet them.
Okay, so welcome to our presentation. We're going to be talking about Pocket Garden, which is a virtual garden that yields real produce at the touch of a button. So our main goal was to change the culture and the relationship that people have with whole foods, and we aim to do that through our app, Pocket Garden. So some alarming facts we came across when we were doing research were that about 40% of American adults are considered obese, according to the CDC. About 85 million Americans consume fast food on any given day, and about 90% of millennials are interested in gardening. They just feel like they don't have the means to do so. So Pocket Garden aims to make a garden controlled by the consumer through an app on their phone. So it's like a gardening game that yields physical produce. So this modern type of gardening allows people who have little resources, space, or time to grow produce at the touch of a button.
Here is an accurate representation in our mobile phone. As you can see, the app is presented in an animated capacity and receive valuable insight to the growing plant procedure in addition to harvesting time. If a user is wanting to share their experience through the phone, they can trade the plants with friends also participating within the phone. Friends can maintain each other's plan in case one has not enough time to check the procedure.
So now let's talk about financials. When we win the $1 million, 500,000 of that 1 million will go to startup costs. 300,000 will go to the greenhouse and the technology that supports the app inside the greenhouse. Around 120,000 will go to marketing and advertising, and then 3,600 will go to AWS. And then $10,000 to $15,000 will go to the app development itself. So let's talk about profits now real quick. The profits will be a little bit slow in the first couple of years, just because we are aware that we need to get out there a little bit. So we've projected about $30,000 to $40,000 profit in the first year. The second year, we'll build another greenhouse. So we'll have a little bit more capacity, but we'll still have limited users in both greenhouses. And then we will build another greenhouse at year 3, and then you'll kind of start to see how it scales. And so it'll scale up over time to hit that $10 million point.
So now let me talk more about the social aspect of our work. So one way we are trying to affect the society is through diversity. Given the opportunity that the environment in the greenhouse provides, we can plant any plant from around the world, which gives the customers the opportunity to grow any plants they want, as well as make any recipes they want from different cultures that we provide in the app. Now more about the employment we are trying to offer. So we're trying to offer employment to the poverty suffering areas by building one greenhouse for every 5 greenhouses we built for our business purposes, as well as planting 1 plant in those greenhouses for every 5 plants we plant for the business purposes. This gives the people in these poverty-suffering areas the opportunity for employment, as well as it gives them fresh food for affordable prices. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hey, welcome back everybody. We hope you enjoyed that pitch. So now I'd like to introduce you all to Erica Self, Victoria Macchioga, and Connor Griffey, some of the members of Pocket Garden. Feel free to send in your questions so that you can ask them what you're curious to know about Pocket Garden, but we'll go ahead and get started. So how did you guys end up being interested in the Holt Prize?
Well, we actually were in a class together. Me, Erica, and Win Lee were all in Dr. Lucy's class, and she offered extra credit, and we were all very interested to get involved in the Holt Prize. We hadn't really heard about it before, but then once we heard about it, we really got passionate about our idea. So we all kind of got together and brainstormed, and then came up with Pocket Garden. So.
And I was really interested about it, I think last year, because with one of my friends, we really wanted to do it. And basically we just, since this year, like Connor was like, I want to do it, and so I was like, well, I want to join because I like heard about it before.
Good news precedes always. Now you guys won the local campus competition and you competed at the national level. What was that like to be with other entrepreneurs from other colleges?
Yeah, it was great. It was a really unique experience that I'd never had. Just to hear all their ideas, they were all so great and really awesome because they like the way that they impacted the communities that they were trying to serve was really, really inspiring. I felt like our idea weighed really well against theirs, and we all came together to kind of promote the greater good, which I think is really a great thing today.
I think it was a really cool experience, and like being able to just see other people's ideas and like get to collaborate and like I feel like innovate and like get to see what other schools are thinking about too. I thought it was a really cool experience. This year it was virtual just because of COVID, but we were able to still compete, and so we were really grateful for that.
Oh, fantastic. Do we have any questions from the forum?
We do. We have a question that just came in.
Awesome.
The question is, well, they said great presentation first. Can you grow organic produce?
So the way that we go about it, there is will be an organic section of the garden, but because of the way that we're looking to grow, not all of the fruit will be and vegetables will be organic, just because the way that the mineral soil works, it's not technically deemed organic, although it is a very healthy way to produce the fruits and vegetables that we're looking to grow. Technically by the FDA, it hasn't been considered organic, but we are looking into having an organic section of the greenhouse so that people can grow their own fruits and vegetables organically if they'd like.
Fantastic. And I do have to ask, why would you use greenhouses versus just regular farmland? How did that idea play into Pocket Garden?
Yeah, that's a great question. So the greenhouses themselves make it so that we can control the climate more than if we would plant them more traditionally. Because we're using an application and because we want this to be an all year round thing, not just a seasonal thing, we decided to go with the greenhouse because it allows us to control the climate and control the weather so that the produce can grow all year round instead of just seasonally.
Yeah, and like one of the other things about that is we're trying to do it more locally, so the produce that you're gonna get is closer to you. So like in different areas, there's seasonal vegetables and fruits and stuff, so to be able to get all of those, you had to use a greenhouse instead of just normal farmland.
All right, that's awesome. Do we have any other questions from the forum? All right, do we have time for one more? Okay. Why don't you tell us, what are your guys' backgrounds? Are you experts in the environment? Are you expert in growing things? How did it come that you guys were able to work on this project and be so knowledgeable about it?
Well, me personally, I'm an IS major, so I didn't have direct knowledge of the growing and that type of stuff. But I grew up in a really small town in western Kansas, and a lot of my friends are agronomists, they're farmers, so they know a lot more about this stuff than me. So I talked to them a little bit about whether this could work, whether farmers, local farmers would be interested in kind of housing the greenhouses and things like that. And they said there was a lot of interest for stuff like that because of it would be more of a surefire income than they're used to as farmers. So yeah, so they were really interested and they thought it was a really great idea. So that's how I got a little bit of knowledge for myself personally.
And I am a marketing major, so I kind of was trying to get into that side, like marketing and creating the logo and how we can basically get customers in.
Yeah, and so I'm in the MBA program here, and I graduated last year with an economics degree. And one of the things that I thought was really cool about our team, and Dr. Lucy, one of our professors, really encouraged having people of different backgrounds and different cultures and stuff like that, so then we could get more diverse ideas. And so I thought that was really cool. I felt like everyone else had their strength and brought something else to the table. So.
We have one more question from the field. We already covered what your majors are. The second part of Shelley's question here says, what are your career goals?
So obviously we want to build a pocket garden, right? So the whole prize said, we want to be able to reach as many people as possible. And then, but for my personal career goals, I would like to work as maybe a data analyst in Kansas City. That's kind of the ultimate goal. I graduate in December of next year, so hopefully that goal will be realized here pretty soon. But yeah, so that's my immediate goal. So.
For me, so basically I graduate next year, and then I'm just really looking into getting masters, and then I just really want to work in marketing, maybe marketing manager in a firm or just that type of position.
Yeah, so after I graduate with my master's degree, I want to go on to law school and focus on environmental law. So I've been looking into schools for that, and then probably do business consulting based on environmental law. So.
One of the great things about entrepreneurship is it brings people from all different backgrounds together. For example, we had over 20 different majors participate in this year's Holt Prize, so you never know what great ideas and what different career outcomes are going to come from it. Thank you guys so much for joining me tonight. We're going to flip to Dr. Smith. He's going to explain the local entrepreneurship challenge that we have, and then he's going to introduce our next guest. So thanks, and I hope you enjoyed that.
Okay, so welcome to our presentation. We're going to be talking about Pocket Garden.
Have you ever had a great idea? Do you ever think that the ideas that you have will make for a great business? Are you an action taker? If yes, then the ESU Entrepreneur Challenge is for you. Hi, I'm Dr. Smith, Director of the ESU Entrepreneur Challenge, or the EEC for short. And in the next few minutes, I'm going to tell you a bit about the program, and I'm going to introduce you to one of the recent finalists. The EEC allows students from any discipline to develop their ideas and compete against other students by pitching their business idea. This starts with the elevator pitch, where students have a set time to pitch or talk about their idea. From there, the process gets a bit interesting. Students must submit an executive summary of their concept, and that's reviewed by the School of Business faculty. Next, a select group of business people in the region also evaluate the entry. The entries are ranked and finalists are selected. The finalists will talk with local business leaders from the Emporia Chamber of Commerce for further feedback. If you're a finalist, you're able to take your idea to the state competition, where you'll compete against other college students in the state of Kansas. Keep this in mind. From start to finish, you have a team of ESU faculty and staff willing to help you so that you're putting your best foot forward. In the past, some of the competitors have launched businesses because of participating in this program. So now that you've heard a little bit about the program, let's turn the corner. You've heard enough from me. The next person you're going to hear from is a current EEC 2021 finalist, and her idea can make a significant impact in the lives of so many underserved children and their families. I'd like to introduce Kendra, and she's going to share her EEC experience and her idea, Show Up.
This is Carmen, Jeremiah, and Drayton. What do they all have in common? They were abandoned, abused, and neglected, and they ultimately went into the foster care system where their needs were not met. It's time we change the standard of the foster care system, and I plan on doing just that. My name is Kendra Kratzberg, and I present Show Up. It's an app to be used by every caregiver within a foster child's life so that we can easily and collaboratively track the child's behaviors and triggers right from our phones. So this is how it'll work. Essentially, it'll be licensed to foster care agencies where social workers and caseworkers can outsource the child's chart to foster parents, where the foster parents can then begin to make entries and then outsource the app to teachers, daycare providers, extended family, and essentially everybody within that child's care. Why is this so important? Because behaviors are the language that these children use to communicate their needs. And so by consistently documenting those needs or those behaviors, we can recognize and understand what those needs are and make decisions accordingly. In addition, it'll also benefit foster parents and foster agencies alike because it'll provide an additional support to foster parents that isn't currently being provided for them, and will benefit foster agencies in the way that it'll provide insight and perspective into those child's needs so that they can make appropriate decisions for that child. The vision for Show Up is that it would expand nationally, but for starters, our target will be within the Kansas agencies. Furthermore, in order to derive success, Show Up would utilize 3 revenue streams, which include licensing revenues, corporate philanthropy donations, and grants. The startup cost would be about $25,000, most of that going to the software development of the app. Furthermore, the monthly cost to maintain we would expect to be a couple thousand within the first few months of its launch, but then would taper off to about $500 to $1,000 to maintain a month. It takes a collective effort, and it takes a village to raise any child. So let's be that village for them and show up. Thank you.
Hey everybody, we are now here with Kendra and Dr. Lucy. So we'll ask Kendra a little bit about her experience with the Entrepreneurship Competition. Once again, don't forget to submit those questions and we can get started now. So Kendra, not only did you do the local entrepreneurship competition, you also did the elevator pitch competition and won best pitch. Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, so it was actually a neat experience. I actually had to do it for Dr. Lucy's class. And originally I wasn't super excited about it, and what was hardest for me about the elevator pitch is that it had to be 26 seconds. So condensing my idea that felt really complex into 26 seconds in a way that like others would be able to understand what that idea was a really hard challenge for me. But once I did get it down and condensed the way that I wanted it, it was actually really fun to participate in.
Absolutely. And so what's your connection to the foster care system? What inspired you to create this idea and see this need that needed to be addressed?
Yeah, so I actually work at a therapeutic preschool through Crosswinds, and there's a lot of foster kids that we service there. And so one foster parent, one of her kiddos, one of our preschoolers, is kind of getting
pushed by the system to go transition back to his biological parents, even though his behaviors tell us that he is not ready or transitioning well to that. So what she started doing for him is bringing a notebook in his backpack for us preschool teachers and his daycare workers to document his behaviors, as just a way for her to show the system that he's having these behaviors after these visits and he's not ready, as a way for her to just demonstrate to the system his needs. And the notebook was actually really hard for us to remember to document, or remember, oh, he did have a behavior today, to document that, or a lot of times it would get ripped or lost or misplaced in between school, home, and daycare. And so it kind of dawned on me that like this would be a lot easier if it was in the form of an app or something digital, so that even if we did forget to write or document one of his behaviors, it would be easy for any of us to real quick just write down, oh, this is what happened that day, or this is a behavior he had, no matter where he was, and just to be able to demonstrate to the system that these are his needs.
Yeah.
So.
Absolutely. So you had this direct experience. Can I ask what your major is really quick?
Yeah, so my major is business administration, and then I'm minoring in sociology as well.
Awesome. So this is a need that you see in your everyday work life that you might potentially see in your future career, and you've created a product that's going to address that and help possibly millions of people. How does that feel to have an idea that could change the world?
Absolutely. It's super exciting. I'm really hoping to make this idea a reality after graduation, and so it's just really exciting to be able to have or feel like I have more of an impact on the kids that I get to see every day, because I love the preschoolers that I get to serve, and I'm hoping to be a foster parent someday, and this is something that I want in my hands and in my home, and so yeah, that's the most exciting part for me.
I love that. Do we have any questions from the forum?
Yes, I actually have a few.
Oh, nice.
The first one is, do you see this also applicable to kids who share parents in a divorce to keep everyone updated on activity while at the other parents' homes?
Absolutely, and I think this idea has a really large scope, not just to the foster care system, even though that's where I'm concentrating, because that's where I found a need and that's where my heart is, to service those kids. But I also think it could be applicable to parents who have their own kids who have different behaviors or disorders, where it would be helpful for them to document, their extreme behaviors or whatnot, throughout every activity or every, place that they're in. So I think there is a larger scope for really anybody who has kids with any kind of behaviors to be able to document those things. So absolutely.
Okay, another question. What was your most surprising or unexpected learning experience during this process?
That's a great question. I think one of the biggest things for me is being able to take a concept and learn how and the steps to make that a reality. That's not something I had any kind of idea about, and so taking Dr. Lucy's entrepreneurship class has really taught me a lot about what those actual steps are in order to get an idea to become a reality. And so that's kind of the journey that I'm on right now, and I'm learning something every day.
And the last question I have, I think Dr. Lucy can actually answer this one. Tell me about how I can do something like this. I think they're meaning be in the challenge. Do I have to be a senior or a business major?
So I'll be happy to answer that question. No, they do not have to be a senior. We would love to see freshmen jump into this competition and do it all 4 years, because with each experience, you add layer after layer upon understanding. As Kendra just admitted, she's learning something new about her process every day. And so if we can make that learning journey last for 4 years, we'd be delighted. Certainly, as you're about to understand, we're going to do an interdisciplinary major here. And so that means any major, any discipline on this campus is invited to take their passion and their interest and couple that with a journey in business to understand how to launch that idea. So absolutely not.
I do have one last question. Kendra, who would you target first in getting the app launched?
In terms of who would be my target market?
Mm-hmm. I think that's what, yes.
So absolutely, like I want to focus on the foster care system and target foster care agencies in order to be able to effectively get that out to the parents who have children within their care. So the foster care system is my main priority, even though I know that, and I hope that it can service beyond that.
Okay, so I have another question. They just keep coming in for you,
Yay.
Kendra. Okay. Where are you in the process of this idea, and when are you wanting to get started on this concept?
I feel like I'm kind of already in the midst of, the process of figuring out a lot of logistics. But right now, I think my next step would be to be able to take this to an app developer in order to get the app developed and serviced out. And then there's a lot of things that I would be doing in the midst of that app development, which is talking to foster care agencies and figuring out the logistics of them being able to service it out to foster parents. So I think I'm in the midst of juggling a lot of things, but I'm really hoping to make it a reality as soon as possible.
One of the awesome things about our local entrepreneurship competition is there are cash prizes. So while you get to go through this incredible process with mentors available to you to walk you through step by step, we have a small business development center. If you win, you do have the opportunity to win cash to put towards your entrepreneurial ideas. So we have cash prizes both for the elevator pitch competition, for the entrepreneurship competition, and then the winners of that get to go to the state entrepreneurship competition for the opportunity to win more funding for their ideas. So thank you so much for talking to us about all of this, Kendra. We'll go ahead and focus on Dr. Lucy. Dr. Lucy is our management professor and our professor of entrepreneurship. She is key in bringing the entrepreneurship major to Emporia State University. We would love if you could tell us a little bit about that.
So we're excited that in fall 2021, we will be launching our brand new major. It was just approved by KWAR just a couple months ago. So it will be our very first semester this fall. We have already begun teaching intro to entrepreneurship classes and entrepreneurship management. This semester I actually taught what will be the third course in that, which was entrepreneurship startup, and that was the course that Kendra was in. And then we'll develop the rest of the classes that we have proposed as we move students down that path. We have chosen to do a Bachelor's of Arts in Interdisciplinary Entrepreneurship. So our students it will appeal to every major. It truly is a major for all majors. So any discipline on the campus, they can declare entrepreneurship as their major, and then their second area of study, as you heard Kendra say, she was passionate about sociology. And obviously her current career, her job, takes her into the lives of these students, and she sees real world problems. And from real world problems, we can be innovative. When entrepreneurs see a problem, they connect it to a solution. When everyone else sees the problem and only the problem, entrepreneurs connect it to a solution. And so that's what we're trying to do with students of all areas of interest, whether it be photography or whether it be sports or whether it be science or medical technology or nursing or music. Whatever their area of interest is, that can come in as their second area of study, and then they can focus on creating an innovative idea from that program. The program is 120 hours. It's a full major. It will be the only interdisciplinary entrepreneurship major that will be AACSB accredited in the world. So we're very, very excited about being the very first one to reach that goal.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you guys have questions about this, please send them in, because this is a very exciting thing. What brought you to Emporia State, and what led you to develop this major? Was there any inspiration in that?
Well, I was an entrepreneur from the time I was 14 when I started my first entrepreneurship endeavor, and it's always been my passion. And after being a systems analyst for several years and working in both the profit and nonprofit industries, I started noticing that a lot of the entrepreneurs that I was doing consulting work with, they simply were struggling with the same issues. And I realized our current entrepreneurship educations programs in a lot of the country are not really addressing that, and as a result, a lot of entrepreneurs are failing to launch their entrepreneurial endeavor. And so I began to look at programs that were in line with what my passion was, which is interdisciplinary entrepreneurship, so that everybody can learn to create a venture in their area of interest. And when I interviewed, when I finished my PhD and came to Emporia State as a possible opportunity, I stayed a couple days in the community, and I was so impressed with the entrepreneurial legacy in this community. There are entrepreneurs every square inch of this town. And so everywhere I went, I heard people say, oh, I support buying small. I buy local. And with that mentality, that's the secret sauce that makes entrepreneurship flourish. And I realized that we didn't have an entrepreneurship program here in Emporia. And so during my interview process, when I had the privilege of speaking with the dean, I explained to him, my passion is to launch an entrepreneurship program. And when I began to share my idea with him, I realized he would give me the opportunity and support me in creating the kind of program and the kind of degree that will best meet the needs of our students. And indeed, that is exactly what has happened.
Absolutely. Just so everybody knows, Emporia was voted one of the best towns in America to start a small business for a myriad of reasons. We have a very successful Emporia Main Street. They make sure that there's always something going on in the town, but they also support local entrepreneurs, including a local incubator. So they help first-time business owners get started and give them a space free of charge so they can start their business. So you're right, Emporia is a very entrepreneurial town. It's a very supportive community. And Emporia is just the best college ever. So where else to start an entrepreneurship program? Do we have any questions?
We do not.
No questions, okay. So this is for everybody on campus to kind of be able to take their idea and turn it into a successful business. Is there going to be any infrastructure from professors, from community members, mentors involved with this program?
Certainly. We have already started creating the entrepreneurial ecosystem that will involve alumni, business individuals in this community that are already active in different industries, past graduates and current graduates, the current people in the program, plus all of our professors in the School of Business have been super supportive of the major, and we're excited to get everyone involved. So it is a collaborative effort, and everyone is collaborating to see students become mentored. So as they take the capstone class, they will be assigned hopefully an alumni mentor in their industry. They will have a professor from somewhere across campus that will also be advising them in their capstone class, and then an entrepreneurship professor. So that last class, as we're getting them ready to launch their business, they will have the inputs of several people that will come alongside of them and partner with them and collaborate with them as they're putting the finishing touches on their idea.
That's fantastic. I can't think of a better environment or ecosystem to start a business in. I think that is going to be all that we're going to have for tonight. Please know that you can reach out to the School of Business, to Dr. Lucy, anytime and ask questions. You can also come down on a campus visit, see if you can put your idea in the ring for one of our entrepreneurship competitions. We'd love to have you here. Hope you have a great night, and I hope you enjoyed this Who Knew at ESU.